Hi, it's Lorna, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a United States of America flag. So we're going to be using beads and head pins and a bunch of tools. So right now I have 13 head pins because there are 13 stripes on the USA flag, and each head pin is going to be one stripe. So if you were going to use this method to do any other kinds of jewelry or any other kinds of flags, you would just want to make a pattern for those using graph paper. I have a video on that it's in the narwhal video, shows how to make a pattern. And then in my, I think it's Jewelry 101, it's a gold necklace. I show you how to turn over your head pins, make loops, and a whole bunch of other jewelry tips. So if you check those videos out, there's a little bit more information for beginners. This is a very beginner-friendly tutorial, so keep watching. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on 26 red beads. So each row is going to have 26 beads in it. That's an important number to remember because no matter what, it needs to total up to 26. So 26 red, then 26 white, then 26 red, then 26 white. And I'm going to do that for 6 strands, and then I'm going to start with my stars. So I'm going to do red, white, red, white, red, white, and then I'm going to show you how to do the stars. So these tools here, these are just pliers with snips in the middle, and then I have my round nose pliers that I'm going to be using to turn over. I forgot to tell you about the tools earlier, so those are the tools I'm using. So I'm going to go ahead and string up the first 6, so 3 white and 3 red. So your next step, now that you have 3 white and 3 red with 26 beads on them each, is you're now going to put on 16 red and white. So you have 7 more rows to add up to 13. So you're going to do 4 rows of red and 3 rows of white that each have 16 beads on them. Now I discovered that my red beads are slightly larger than my white beads, so I am going to subtract a few red beads just so that they're even with the white. So as you can see there, my red beads are just a little bit larger. No worries, I'm just gonna pop 1 or 2 off to even them out. And that is just because my white beads are check glass beads and they tend to be a little bit nicer quality. They're cut more evenly, and my other ones, not sure what brand they are. My red beads are a little bit more irregular, so I have some large beads, some small beads, so you may need to add a bead even if some of your beads are too small. But the goal is to make them even. The number count for the check glass, or if you're using Miyuki beads, is correct. It's just these red beads are irregular. So easy to solve by just popping off a few beads. And it's not going to affect our overall look. So for the next ones, again, we're doing 16 red, then 16 white, 16 red, then 16 white. And we're going to do that for the remaining 7 stripes. So far, no blue yet. Just keep on striping. So if I have 16 beads on these top 7, I need to add up to get to 26, which means I need 10 beads total. So for my blue and white stars, I'm not going to be able to get 50 stars on this flag. You would have to make quite a large, maybe double the size in flag in order to get the 50 stars. So I'm doing about half of that. So the first one that I'm going to do is I'm going to put 10 blue beads because I want all of my stars in the center. So I'm going to do 10 blue beads on this first one. And I'm just going to count those out, make sure that I have 10. My number count is correct. It's only the red beads that I had a problem with. So all of my numbers are accurate for this. So there we have it. We have the first bit of our stars done, our blue and stars. So our blue sky. So then what I want to do is I want to do 2 blue. So all of my stripes from here on out are going to have 4 silver beads, so 4 stars each. The difference is that for my white stripes, so the ones that start with white, they're going to have 2 blue beads, then it's going to be a white, then a blue, then a white, then a blue, then a white, then a blue. It's always going to end in a blue. And that is because I don't want my stars to stack on top of each other. So for my next row up, I'm going to start with 1 blue bead instead of 2 blue beads. So on this row, adding that additional bead is going to make it so that my stars are staggered. So on my red row, right above this row, instead of starting with 2 blue, I'm just going to start with 1. And I'm going to end with 2 blue. So you'll see that here. So as you can see, the stars and the sky are just an A-B pattern, but the white one starts with 2 blue and the red one ends with 2 blue. That's the only difference. So you're just making an A-B pattern. And on the very final red striped one, the very top row, you're going to do 10 blue beads. So now that we have all of the beads in place, the next step is to trim down our head pins so that they are not giant. You could fill in these with some beads to make a border. Like you could add black beads all around it, or you could add, your favorite color, pink. I don't know what you would want to add. So whatever you want to add, you can, or you can trim it. So I would say that my pinky is about 1 centimeter. So I usually measure using my pinky, so a pinky's width. So what you want to do is you want to line all of your pieces up, and you can take a marker and run it across wherever you want to mark it, but you want all of these to be the same length. So if you're already using like 1.5-inch head pins, you're probably good to go. These ones are really long. They're about 2 inches, so I definitely need to trim them off. I use a pinky's width as my measurement, and you can use whatever works best for you to know how to turn them over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all of these pieces to the same length. So you just want to make sure that your head pin is flush with the other one next to it. You can tap it down on a table, and then you just want to snip it. You always want to snip down into a mat or underneath a table because I am doing this on film. It's very difficult to do that. I am wearing safety glasses, so we're good there. But in the studio or at home, please use safety when you're snipping any kind of wire, especially this thick wire. It can fly off and get you right in the eye. So make sure you're being safe with that. So I have them all cut to the same length. Through the magic of editing, you didn't have to see all of that. And I'm just going to take my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to make a little crook in the end so that they stand up straight. And then I'm going to bend the opposite way to make a loop. I'm going to do that for all 13 of my pieces. You may need to straighten it up and make sure that all of your loops are nice and closed. Even if they're not straight or they're crooked, you want to make sure they're closed, because if they're not, they're gonna just swing right off of the bar we're going to be putting them on. So make sure all of them are nice and tight. So our final step here is actually putting them on our eye pin. So that 14th pin, our eye pin, I'm just going to go ahead and string on some beads because I like the way that it looks. These are just 8/0 silver beads. You can use whatever beads you want, or you can use no beads at all. It's really up to you. These beads are just going to say, hey, look at me, I'm shiny, and say not look at the little loops at the top. They're just going to distract you from the loops. And I'll show you quickly what it looks like if I just put a couple right next to each other. They're not going to affect the space. Unless I used really large beads, they're not going to affect the spacing. So if I just put them really close together, you can see they lay really close together, no big deal, but the silver beads just look a little bit more polished at the top. This was a last minute decision, so I did not put them in the materials list. So I'm just going to alternate silver bead and then put on the beads that I made. You just want to make sure that you're double checking your work as you go so that you don't have to take them all off if you accidentally make a mistake. here I am playing with it because it's just really fun to wiggle them around. So it's a really fun project. So after you've gotten all of your beads on, you want to go ahead and snip off any excess. Again, you're going to need about a pinky's width or 1 centimeter, and then you're just going to turn over that edge just like you did all the other ones. You're just going to make a loop at the top. So there we have it. Here is our finished pendant or earring. You can add whatever findings you want to this. You could add a little bit of chain to make a triangle and use it for earrings. It's not too heavy, so you could totally use this as earrings. It would make a really great pendant or a brooch or a little bracelet. It really just depends on what kinds of findings that you put on. You could put on a couple jump rings and just attach chain. I'm not going to show you findings because really it's very versatile and you can just add whatever you want to these loops. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I hope you all have a fun, safe 4th of July weekend and that you try out this project. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.